which deals with a demolition request. And I'm going to give that to Councillor Burku. It's a notice. We'll need some order. Well, people are coming in from Maison Fleury. I'm sure they're all excited. But the next, so we're adjourning that, Mr. Assistant City Clerk, and we're moving on to the special meeting regarding the demolition of an immovable at 5616 McMurray. Councillor Burku.
Good evening, everyone. We want to proceed with the Maison Fleury presentations. We're going to have to go through this little consultation first because we are now convening a demolition committee for property located at 5616 McMurray. The request is to authorize the demolition of the property located on this lot, lot number 1053248. The request is concerning the demolition of an existing one-story single-family detached dwelling in order to allow the construction of a proposed two-story single-family detached dwelling. Does anyone have any questions or comments with regard to this request? I repeat, it's regarding 5616 McMurray, and you'll see on the screen the proposed new construction. And maybe we can go back to the original. I don't know if we have the original. Okay. So that's the original, the existing home to be demolished and to be rebuilt as a two-story single-family detached dwelling on McMurray. We have some conditions that we're going to be imposing on the owner. I must say that we've consulted the neighbors around the proposed demolition. They gave us their feedback. We modified the facade. We modified certain materials that were going to be used, and we insisted that there be a cedar hedge and also that the tree be planted in front of the house. So does anyone have any comments?
Questions?
Or questions?
Sure. So the question is on the fitting it into the neighborhood. Go ahead, Councillor Burku.
So as I explained to you, this has gone to the PAC committee, which is the Planning Advisory Committee, and the scope of the house is exactly, it's higher than the existing house, so that's difficult to maintain the exact same look because it's a bigger house, but it is conforming to the zoning. We're allowed to extend it to the height that is proposed, and it's a modern house. I agree with you that it's not. It doesn't look like it was built in the 50s, but this is the new trend that we're having in Côte Saint-Luc of people wanting to build more modern and more spacious homes. The neighbors obviously have some issues, but the neighbor to the immediate right does not have an issue with it. He just wants a cedar hedge. As you can see on where the garage is, he wanted a cedar hedge to be built there to protect his property, and so he's satisfied with that.
Just one more question. Does it block any of the house's view?
No, the thing is, there is a rule with regard to height. Some neighbors in the back had an issue with the height. It's not a question of view, but they felt that the house is higher than the previous house, obviously. but it's not blocking their view of anything in particular, it's just that the house is higher.
Fitting within the rules of the bylaw.
Right.
Okay, any further questions? Okay. So I'll call for adjournment of that meeting.
No, actually,
Or you have to do
I
the
think-
resolution? Oh, you have
Yeah.
to do the resolution. You do the resolution.
okay, so I'm
and
going to
then
read the
we'll-
resolution.
It's a long resolution, but it goes through all the.
Okay, so whereas the Demolition Committee of the City of Côte Saint-Luc has carefully considered the application for a certificate of authorization for the demolition of 5616 McMurray, said application filed by Mr. Sergio Viziciu, whereas the Demolition Committee has reviewed all submissions related to the said application, whereas the evaluation of the building has been determined at $161,400, whereas the applicants intend to use the land located at 5616 McMurray to build a new two-story, single-family detached dwelling and have thus submitted preliminary architectural drawings. Whereas City Council has viewed the preliminary drawings and deemed them to conform to the City of Côte Saint-Luc's bylaws and agreed that the proposed new building fit into the streetscape it's surrounding on McMurray Avenue. Whereas no evidence has been presented to demonstrate the proposed demolition would cause disruptions to the neighborhood that are any greater than the normal inconvenience associated with such a demolition. Whereas no evidence has been presented that proposed demolition would cause any other undue prejudice to the neighbors. Whereas all of the procedures established by the City of Côte Saint-Luc have been met when considering the present application. For all the foregoing reasons, be it resolved, the City of Côte Saint-Luc Demolition Committee grant the certificate of authorization for the demolition of the existing single-family detached dwelling located at 5616 McMurray, situated on cadastral lot number 1053248. Approve the prospectus for the new two-story proposed single-family detached dwelling. That the granting of the said demolition and approval of the said prospectus are contingent upon the following conditions. Now I'm going to read all the conditions. That the applicant's contractors furnish the City of Côte Saint-Luc with proof of insurance which is satisfactory to the city. That the necessary monetary guarantee of $32,280 be obtained pursuant to bylaw 2345, the whole within the 30 days following the date of this decision. That construction delays be 1 year from the time the building permits for the new buildings are issued pursuant to Article 4-10 of Bylaw 2088, being the consolidated building bylaw of the City of Côte Saint-Luc. That a cedar hedge be planted on the property where the existing garage is located, and that a tree with a 10.1 centimeter, that is 4 inches diameter, measured at 1.52 meters, 5 feet from the ground, must be planted in the front yard in order to replace the tree that must be cut down. That the demolition work must be conforming to demolition bylaw 2345, that the present certificate of authorization becomes null and void if the work did not start within 3 months after issuing the certificate and is not completed within 4 months after starting the work. Working hours are 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. during weekdays and no work permitted on weekends and statutory holidays. The construction site must be protected by a fence conforming to construction bylaw 2088-9, solid at least 6 feet in height and completely opaque. The construction site and the adjacent public property must be maintained during the work. An invoice will be sent to the owner if the public property is not maintained. The existing trees must be protected during the work. To park equipment on the street, apply for an occupation permit at the cost of $100 per day plus application fee of $75, 5 days before the occupation of the street. The owner will be held responsible for all damages caused to public property during demolition and construction work. The $2,500 deposit will be invoiced when the construction permit will be issued. This deposit is an estimate in case of damages caused to public property during demolition. Almost done. And construction work, if the deposit is not enough to cover the cost of the damages, an invoice will be sent to the owner. All measures must be undertaken to prevent inconveniences related to noise, dust, pollution, dirty streets, and vermin. Not more than 5 days after demolition work is completed, the lot must be cleared of all debris and/or material, and the demolition debris must be transported out of the site and cannot be left on city property. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Cohen. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried with Councillor Kajewski dissenting. And now I call for adjournment.
Thank Thank you.
Councillor Sabat, seconded by Councillor Kajowski, all in favor. We are adjourned.